It's a great pleasure to be back at St Peter's this morning, the parish that I've always regarded as my home parish, where I was a parishioner, almost 10 years ago now, and where I first started to explore my vocation to ordained ministry. And my thanks go to Father Hugh for his kind invitation to preach at today's Masses. I bring greetings too from the good folk at Christ Church South Yarra, where I've been serving my curacy over the past 2 years, and apologies too that my wife Kirsty is unable to be here this morning. The clergy at St John's Toorak are all hands on deck at the moment while they continue in an interregnum. I know that things have been very busy over the past week on the Hill as you have been conducting your parish mission under the inspiration of Bishop Stephen Cottrell, and that he has delivered some fine sermons from this pulpit. Now that's a hard act to follow, and I don't intend to add to the digestion of a no doubt rich spiritual diet of the last few weeks. But today's Festival of Dedication does present a natural opportunity to follow up on the discernment of your mission as a parish, your sending out into the world. And I'd also like to give something of a personal reflection and tribute to this place of my own formation and dedication for ministry, this pretty new church, as Francis Perry described it in 1848, the year of its dedication, sweetly situated on the brow of the hill overlooking Melbourne. On the brow of the hill overlooking Melbourne. Even the church's location seems to suggest a missional orientation, as it looks out toward the city it serves, close enough to get stuck in, as in times past through its ministry to the streets and lanes, and today as it engages with this very diverse city, from the homeless through the Lazarus Centre to the business community of the CBD, I know through Father Richard's ministry in this place. Close enough to get stuck in, and yet far enough apart to point to something else. High enough upon the hill to call the world to lift up its eyes, from whence cometh our help. It might be high upon the hill, but it's also high in more ways than one. Places like St Peter's, high up the candlestick, have traditionally occupied this metaphorical landscape, close enough to get stuck in, yet far enough away to communicate through space and senses an element of otherness, a sacred realm, a place apart. Through liturgy, music, movement, processions and genuflections, we are carried along to glimpse the heavenly banquet and the beatific vision which is, as Aquinas described, our final end. If the liturgy gives us a sense of our end, it is also true that liturgy and worship marks our beginning. There were, after all, many notable events in the early history of this parish, different contenders to mark our beginning. There is the laying of the foundation stone by Charles La Trobe in mid-1846, the reading of Bishop Perry's Letters Patent in early 1848, an act which also elevated Melbourne from the status of town to the city of Melbourne. And it seems that there were also services being said and sung in the building since at least that time. We know of one notorious incident in early 1848 when the town hangman disrupted evensong and had to be removed, howling like a maimed gorilla, after throwing his truncheon at an exquisitely got-up young gentleman connected with the choir. Make of that what you will. So there was certainly life in the place well before Bishop Perry participated in the Festival of Dedication on the first Sunday in August 1848, which has been commemorated ever since as our anniversary. So why that occasion? Well, I think it says something about what it means to gather here at all, to dedicate formally, in song, words, actions, this place and our own selves, to the worship of God and the proclamation of God's glory. It is that act of dedication, that performative work of liturgy, that constitutes this place as none other than the house of God. As an aside, the acknowledgement of that performative reality is a great gift the Church can offer to an increasingly bureaucratic and paper-pushing world. In the Mass, God's forgiveness and blessing is declared by word and action. In baptism, it is the act itself of water and words which regenerates the soul, not the certificate which merely witnesses to it. And so too in marriage, the signing of the register is only a record and witness to what has already taken place through ceremony. Ultimately, it all reflects that creative, generative action of a God who speaks the world into being through the eternal Word. Our Old Testament reading speaks of that performative liturgy as Solomon prays that God may dwell in the house that he has built, that God's eyes may be open night and day towards that house. The temple is dedicated by prayer, not by laying the foundation stone, not even by all the assembly, the presence of the assembly of Israel, but by hands outstretched to heaven and the cry and prayer of God's people. And so it is with this place, as it seems appropriate that we should hear St. Peter quoting in his epistle, Psalm 118, "The stone that the builders rejected has become the very head of the corner, as the stones that lie at the foundations of this church, I understand, are the rubbish stones which could be cheaply and easily got in early colonial Melbourne." Yet, from that foundation stands a centre of prayer and worship that has drawn in and sent out successive generations of Christians, of which I count myself just one. Drawn in and sent out. Very much my own experience of being a part of this parish, which nourished and nurtured my faith in young adulthood, as well as my vocation to ministry. Although always regarding this as my home parish, even before I was ordained, I was being sent out to other places on theological placements, drawn back in for key life events such as my wedding here to Kirsty in 2011, and sent out again, first to Oxford, which would not have been possible without the generous support of this parish, and now preparing to set sail again to the other place, Cambridge, where I will undertake doctoral studies and begin another chapter in ministry as assistant chaplain at Emmanuel College, and where Kirsty will take up her appointment as chaplain of Trinity College, Cambridge. So it is a great privilege for me and fitting to return here to the hill, drawn back in before setting out again. I wonder then what has drawn you to this place today. And I encourage you to think too of where it might be that you're being sent. Perhaps it's to get stuck in, Perhaps it's to sit a while apart. Where is the liturgy carrying you today? Is it to an end or a beginning? And what about as a parish, as you corporately digest these last few weeks of mission? With what cry and what prayer is this place to be dedicated, rededicated to the worship of God and the expansion of God's kingdom? And what will be the performative signs that will point to the reality of God's mission being worked through this place? I can only ask the questions, not answer them. That's the dubious privilege of being a visiting preacher. But lurking deep within the pages of our prayer book is a prayer for dedication, which I'd like to offer in thanksgiving for the ministry of this parish in my own journey, as well as the future mission of this place, sweetly situated on the brow of the hill overlooking Melbourne. So let us pray. Teach us, gracious Lord, to begin our works with reverence, to go on in obedience, and finish them with love, and then to wait patiently in hope, looking joyfully to you, whose promises are faithful and rewards infinite. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.